recording, and I'll read us in. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, Lissa. It's Jana. I am here with Janice Porter, and I'm so excited to be interviewing her. So I'm going to get us read in and get it started. So 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today I'm here with Janice Porter. Janice began her career as a teacher, was a corporate trainer, and has been in business for herself for many years. She found her niche, coaching and training business professionals to network at a mastery level and turn their connections into business. For Janice, it is all about relationships because that's what we're going to talk about today. So first and foremost is her family. She's very proud of her 2 daughters and appreciates the support of her husband through all that she does. Having an innate curiosity, she has leveraged that into building business relationships and teaches others how to do the same. Doesn't she sound like our people, ladies and gentlemen? Like, I love this woman. And I was trying to do some show notes with her, but I'm like, hey, forget it. We could talk about this all day because this is what I'm passionate about too. So Janice, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure, Jana. Absolutely. It was really a pleasure to meet you. And I know when we talked the first time, we couldn't really stop. We're on the same wavelength for sure.
Definitely. And probably why I'm a little nervous interviewing you because I just love people like you. And when you said you would come on the show, I was really excited. So thank you.
My pleasure.
So one of the things we do here, one of the first things we do is we share our stories of hope. And I know that Janice first said to me that, well, I don't really have a health story, but there are so many other stories of hope, especially right now, that we can be putting out into the world. And hers is really powerful. So I'm really glad that you've agreed to share your story with us today.
No. Well, you want me to start?
Yes, please do it.
So, as it said in my bio that I was a teacher, I think I've always been a teacher, and I grew up being a teacher, and I taught school. That was my first life, and I taught elementary school, and I really loved it, but I didn't like the bureaucracy that went around with it, and I didn't like the boring routine of every day you had to eat lunch in the same lunchroom, and you were with the same people, and God forbid you should sit in a different chair because somebody, was so into routine and the rut of doing what they do on a daily basis with a job, right? And eventually I had a reason to leave because I was trying to get pregnant, and I needed to get away from all of that. So once I had my baby, my second baby actually, I wasn't really ready to go back to teaching. And so an opportunity came around to be a corporate trainer, which I'd never done and never considered doing. But a friend of mine asked me if I was interested in doing some soft skills training. And I said, sure, why not? Let's see what the story is there. And I actually turned that into a career for several years as a contractor. I was a corporate trainer, did telephone courtesy skills, customer service skills, which I was passionate about. Customer service is really my thing, and I hated it when I never got good customer service. So it was good for me to do that. Then I got into some technical stuff and did corporate training for many years. And then the world changed around, mid 2000s, and things started to change, and I lost my job. And I realized that I didn't want to get a job. What was I going to do with myself? So it took me a while. Wasn't collecting EI because I'd been unemployment insurance because I'd been a contractor. Now this is Canada, which is a little different than the US, but we had at that time the opportunity to reinvent ourselves and get paid to do so through government programs. I couldn't do that. So it was tough because I didn't know. I wanted to do something on my own, and it always requires money to do that, right? To retrain yourself or to start a business, which I knew nothing how to do. I had spent my years having other people schedule me, and I'd go out and do my job. So that was easy. Running a business, not so easy. Knowing all those things that you need to know. So I got a little bit of a taste of what to do, and because I was allowed a 2-week training program on how to be an entrepreneur. Like, figure that one out. I think you either are or you're not. But anyway, I decided to shorten the learning curve by not reinventing the wheel. And my first effort at doing my own thing was being a professional organizer. And somebody I knew was doing that. She licensed it. I learned her method of how to do it. And I was working with small business owners, solopreneurs, people who worked in home offices way before it was fashionable to do that. And I did that for 2 or 3 years. And when I started to do that, what I really got out of it was networking. That's what it started my career around networking, of being having to meet people to find my new clients and next clients by networking. And through networking at, say, the local Chamber of Commerce, I was able to start doing some presentations. Well, that got me back into teaching, and the idea that I could stand up in front of a room and share with people why it was important for them to be organized, and some tips around all of that. So it was a slow burn, but I started to get my legs around having my own business. However, after 2 or 3 years of being a professional organizer, I got exhausted, because actually you were not so much organizing them as cleaning their office, right? That's what it became. So I started to look around into some other things. I won't give you the long story of this, but I got into network marketing. And that's a whole other story, because it's a different model. It's a different way of doing business. And I liked it, but I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't have the right vehicle at the time. It was health and wellness products. And it turns out that's not my forte. Anyway, as I was doing that, I then got into learning about social media, much of which gave me a headache. And I wasn't one for Facebook at the time. I really didn't like to put myself out there and the social aspect of it. So I found a new network marketing company that was more my style. And at the same time, I started to find a platform called LinkedIn, and found that this was something that made sense to me. It was more left brain. It was more business-like. And I found myself, once I understood it, wanting to share it with other people. So again, it took me a while, because you have to learn about how to market yourself, right? When you work for yourself, it's all about you, and you have to really start to look at how to do that. So it took, again, there was a lot of trial and error. And at the same time, I was trying to build this network marketing business, which you already are aware of, is Send Out Cards. And because Send Out Cards is a tool that people in business can use to stay in business, to stay connected, to build relationships, it all started to come together for me. And really, in the last 3 years, I felt that I was home. It did take a long time, but again, I built it over years of using that product myself, sharing that product with other people, and then eventually being able to marry the LinkedIn training with the Send Out Cards by putting an umbrella over it all as me, the relationship marketer. So that's how I market myself. That's how I teach my business. Sometimes I may meet people that want to learn more about LinkedIn. Sometimes it's people that are in business, in certain types of businesses, that need a tool for staying in touch. The realtors, the mortgage brokers, the financial planners, the business owners, the fitness trainers. It doesn't matter what it is. They need to be in front of their clients. They need to show appreciation, and they need to be top of mind. So that's how that works. And with LinkedIn, it's a question of, okay, where's your audience? If your audience is on LinkedIn, then let me show you how to leverage that so you can get some business around that platform.
I love what you do. And I got to tell you, I just started using LinkedIn maybe this year, maybe in 2020. I've had it, but I just did not. For all of you who are like, I do not want another social media platform, like I'm overloaded, it is my peeps. I love it. I go there now. I don't like everyone knows, I'm very honest that I no longer do my social media. I have someone do that. It is all my words. I plan it out a month in advance and I give it to them and they make it beautiful. but I don't let them touch my LinkedIn page because
Uh-huh.
those are my peeps and I don't want to miss anything. So LinkedIn is this really magical place for you to go if you're in business, right? And you're not just sharing family photos
Right.
or like it's a great place, right? When I got there, I was like, oh, really? This is like quality. Like it's like definitely if you're picking out peas because you don't like peas out of stew, this is the stew with no peas.
That's funny. Yeah, it's definitely because it's business focused. It's easier to get into a business conversation faster, right? With LinkedIn people. And it's also a really good place for you to show your authority in your field. And so for me, I teach people three things. I teach them one, how to have an optimized profile that speaks to their target audience or audiences and that attracts those people. Two, I teach them how to have a proper outreach messaging strategy and how to deal with the inbound requests, what to look for to see if it's the right person to connect with, to see if, excuse me, if it makes any sense to connect with them, how to have that messaging conversation and how to then take it offline. And thirdly, it's about content. It's about showing you as the authority in your field and how to do that properly. Because I see a lot of people do it, but they don't do it properly. And what happens is LinkedIn, just like all the other platforms, they have their own algorithms. And if they don't like what you're doing, they won't send it to more news feeds, right? So you have to know what you're doing in a sense there. But yeah, so for me, I actually came full circle when I realized that LinkedIn was a thing I could teach people. And so what it allows me to do now is teach again. And that's what I love about it.
I love that too, that you can teach that because I'll probably be giving you a ring. Because those are definitely my peeps. And for all of you who heard us say the word network marketing and totally zoned out, let me just tell you a little thing. Like there are some really not nice people in network marketing, and I call it like they have commission breath or sales breath, right? And you hear them talk and that's all they talk about and you just back up. But here's the greatest thing about network marketing. It's the only thing in the world, the only thing that you can come in at any stage of your life with any kind of educational background. You can not have finished high school or you can have a doctorate or a PhD. You all start out the same playing field, right? With the same possibility of growth. It's crazy and I love it. And I know people are like, it's a pyramid. Well, have you seen how a bank works? or a corporate office of any kind? There's a CEO and there's people under them and they get paid, and there's people under them and they get paid less. And it's just the way it is. But here I have the potential to work as hard as I want to work to build my business. And my growth is literally up to me. And I love that I can see someone come in that doesn't have my education, or they may not have the same kind of background I have, and yet do better than me. So I love network marketing. So if you don't like the people that give you the commission breath and come, don't look at it that way. Look at it as an opportunity to bring in a stream of income for you, no matter where you're at in your careers or life or journey, right?
Mm-hmm. And let me just add one little thing to that it's not a pyramid because pyramids are illegal. Okay. And there's a longer answer to that, but just so you know, they have to be actually very highly regulated now, network marketing companies. And really it's just another marketing model that's different from the traditional marketing model, but it's still all about products and services, and it's just they're sold in a different way by word of mouth marketing.
And one of the things that you pointed out that is so important is be with the right company. Because you're right, when it's not the right company and you don't feel that joy or that passion about it, it's really hard to do it. It'd be like, I don't know, me getting into fitness because everyone knows I hate working out. But if I'm selling gym equipment and I'm making tons of money, it's still not going to be very exciting because how do you like it? Well, I don't know. I don't really use it.
Well, that's honest. That's awesome. And it's true because I remember back in the early days, my first network marketing company was a skincare and they were also into health and wellness, but it was the skincare. Let me just turn this off. Side that I started in. And when I started doing like home spas and do your half your face and not act like this is not my world, I can't do this, I'm not that person. You get a rash and they call you because they got a rash from something. I'm sorry, that's just not my world. So for me, it has to make sense, and what makes sense for me is building and nurturing relationships, and that's why send out cards works for me.
So I use send out cards. I belong to a lot of MLMs, although I only build one that
Yeah.
I've been in for 11 years. But because their products are always phenomenal, because their customer service is almost always the
Mm-hmm.
most incredible you're ever going to get, I'm big on sending messages of hope out in the world, which is why I do the podcast, the magazines, all of this, because it's so empowering to be able to send that message of hope and touch people. And when I saw send out cards, not only was I impressed by the business, and this isn't a commercial, but I'm doing my magazine right now, and I'm doing a highlight on one of the creators of Send Out Cards book, and his story was so powerful. And on top of all of that, because of everything going on right now, so I don't know when this gets put out there, because of everything going on, he has something called a kindness package that he's letting you send out for free when you're a member at like whatever level it is. Like when you come in, you get to send it out for free, and it goes, you get the card and this
Anywhere
gift
in the world.
anywhere in the world. I know. I by the way, I got my hand slapped because I knew I had a busy week and I sent out 24 in one day.
Well, I'll tell you though, there's been a lot of lessons learned by this, even by Cody Bateman, the owner of this company, and I love him to death. But he also learned that he is such a kind guy and a heartfelt guy, that what he really wanted to do was to make sure that he could do something to help change the climate in the world today, which has gone crazy, especially in North America, because of the COVID-19, which is where we're at, whether it's 3 weeks from now or a month from now or whatever. It's something that has touched the world in such a horrible way. And then to add to that the violence that's gone on, that's sort of caused Cody to really stand up and say, we have to do something to spread kindness in a bigger way, because that's the promise of the company. And so when he did that, he didn't realize, yes, you could send them all out in one day, but you have to be really careful and pick who you're sending them to, because what the message was to send it out to people who need it, right? People who need that kindness, people who have lost their jobs, people who have lost a loved one, people who are working the front lines, people who need a lift right now. So there were people taking advantage of the situation, and that's now caused him to rethink how it's going to work. So it's just interesting, human nature being what it is, right?
They were very sweet. They're like, oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
you can do that. But I'm
Yeah.
like, I only had the one day.
Yeah.
And I literally didn't send him more than they had said when I listened to his beautiful, heartfelt message that he put out on why he was doing it. But what I was trying to get to seriously is the point that this man walks the walk.
He does.
Like
Yeah.
how many companies are saying, just I'm giving of my company so that you can give and touch those people that really need to be touched. And he did it on a global level, which is empowering to so many people. And it's going to put such an amazing impact out into the world.
Cody's in my brain like every day, because I always wake up thinking, who needs to hear from me today? And that came from him. That's his prompting every day to send a card. So yeah. And this is just a vehicle to make it easy to do that from your phone or from your desktop. But again, not trying to be advertising it, but trying to get to the heart of somebody, of people that are listening to your show, that it is about heart. It is about being able to make somebody else's day better, right?
And by the way, that's what this summit was really all about. This summit was about connecting with people first. So we all have great products, even if we're the product. For me, it's my education. I train people,
Right.
and I work with mindset. But if you have a product, whether it's an actual physical thing or something you do, it's so important that you are connecting first. You're connecting with your clients or potential clients. You're really listening and seeing what it is they need and what you can do to serve them better. And when you figure that out, I'm telling you, the floodgates open to people wanting to work with you and be a part of what you're doing.
That's so true. It really is. And of course, like you said about LinkedIn, where your peeps are, why wouldn't you want to work with people who think the same way, right? Who get it, who also know the value of, staying connected. I work with a lot of realtors and mortgage brokers, and even the ones I work with, some of them, you feel like you're pulling them along to understand the power of what they're doing. Instead, they just want to make sure they have a system that touches people, let's say 4 times a year, but they haven't put their heart in it. If you understand what I'm saying, at least they're doing that. Then I'm trying to get people to act on their promptings at the same time, which is a little harder to do because they're too busy looking at the end result or the bottom line. And I'm like, take a picture of that person you had coffee with and send them a card and saying how much you loved, or how much you enjoyed the conversation that you had. That would mean more than the automated card that goes out 4 times a year, right?
100%.
Yeah. So it's a learning curve for people. So they have to have they have to be open to it to start with, right?
I love them because they're so personalized and they're so unique. How long, again, not a commercial, but how long do you spend at the grocery store, or the card store, looking at a card, reading it, putting it back, looking at a card, reading
Yeah.
it, putting it back? Because it just doesn't say what you want to say to this person, but you can literally put that on a card, exactly what you want to say, with a beautiful picture of you or them together. It's just, I love it. It's just really joyful to go there and do that.
It's true. It's true.
When you're doing your network marketing and you're working in business, whether it's on LinkedIn or whether it's in send out cards,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so important that you really understand, because you do, who you're talking to and who that avatar is. And I know people hear avatar, avatar all the time, but I put it really simply when I say, if you're inviting vegans to your house, you're not serving steak. Well, she's probably not going to go and talk to her LinkedIn people and send out cards and heartfelt and touch. She's going to send them one maybe and touch them that way. And she's not going to talk to her, send out cards to people about LinkedIn, like the business of LinkedIn. 2 totally different avatars, 2 totally different tables and meals, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when you really get that in your head as to who it is you're serving and what it is they need to eat by listening to them, connecting with them, like, don't you think that works so much better?
I do. I also don't think they're completely separate because I just had a conversation before this call with a prospect that was referred to me by a realtor friend of mine. He's a realtor and he wanted some help with LinkedIn. And I said, so tell me what it is that you are looking for. And I know that he's on LinkedIn, but very, very just started, minimal, like doesn't even have a full blown profile. And he said, well, I know that I need to be on there. Well, why do you need to be on there? Right? Like they don't know. I said, is it because do you want to do some LinkedIn training because you don't know what you don't know? Or do you think that your audience is there? So by your audience, it could mean your prospects for your the homes that you're listing or want to sell, or buyers that you're looking for, or it could mean referral partners, like other realtors from other places. So you do referral partners, right? And people moving to other places, and maybe it's accountants that are divorce lawyers or who work with your same audience. So what is it that you see? Because if I don't get them to understand what they're looking for, how can I help them? Number one. And number two, because they're realtors, in this case, he was a realtor, I have to put it into perspective that, is it just for him to have better presence or authority by using LinkedIn. So all of these things sort of came into play. Obviously, we didn't jump from A to Z right away. I told him, he wanted me to send him some information. I shared with him how I teach LinkedIn. And so in doing that, and why they're not totally separate is, in doing that, my goal is always about building relationships. So it's, yes, we want to have you as the full-blown influencer that you are, or the you speaking to the audience you want to speak to on LinkedIn through your profile. But when you're doing the other pieces, which are the messaging strategy and the content strategy, you want to be building relationship. It's not about selling them something. It's not about putting your listings on LinkedIn on the newsfeed and saying, come see my house. That's not how I work. I work in building relationships. So that's where I'm able to tie them together if that comes to play, into play. But I still teach in the same way. It's still about people. So if you don't like that, then I'm not your person, right? So that's what I mean by that. So
I say the same thing. If you don't like it, I'm probably not your person. I'll help you find that person.
Yeah,
but
of course. Yeah, exactly. But it has to feel right. Otherwise it won't work.
So where can people connect with you if they're interested in learning more about send out cards, or they're interested in learning more about them having a presence? And by the way, one of the things you said that I love the most is people do come and they see something they like and they're like, I want that. I want what that person has. I want this website. Take this website, but make it all about me. And
Yeah.
it's not. You're
No.
unique, right? We want to bring out that unique flavor in you that nobody else has. That is your super attractor power. And you've gotten that. Like, that first thing you're doing is digging, why do you want this? And chunking down until you finally come up with, aha, that's it. You're unique. Let's use that uniqueness.
And that is so true, because one of my favorite things to do is to build the about section on LinkedIn, the summary section with the person, because I see so many people that take their, I haven't looked at yours, so I have no idea, but they take their resume and they put it in there and they think that's their LinkedIn profile, and it's not. And so I'm able to build with people that work with me one-on-one until we build their story, their narrative on the about section that makes it about their uniqueness, what makes them unique. And so then it also speaks to the people they want it to speak to. So to answer your question, they can find me at janiceporter.com, my website, and I break down all my LinkedIn training on there. And they can also find me on LinkedIn, Janice Porter, so they can connect with me on LinkedIn. And both of those places will get them to me, to a conversation, and see how I can best support people.
Well, I've had a couple of opportunities to work with Janice, and she's incredible. So I 100% would take her up on that offer and connect with her, because she's phenomenal. Janice, thank you so much for sharing your story. I love what you do. I actually love everything about you. I'm kind of a stalker.
Oh, I forgot to say that on my website, there's 2 free downloads. There's one about relationship marketing in business, and there's one about a checklist for LinkedIn. So they're welcome to take one or both of those downloads, and for free. So
all the links will be in the show notes. You guys can find it really easily, but go grab those. And I want to hear about your LinkedIn. Connect with me so I can follow you and see how well you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, Jana. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.